Hey guys, we're at the Pasadena Convention Center for ScareLA 2015. If you followed along with us this year, you know this is one of the cons we've been looking most forward to. It merges together all the things that we really love, the con environment, the themed environment, and obviously haunts as well. So we are here on the floor. The doors are about to open in a half hour, so we have a little early access. We've been looking around. If you followed along with us on Periscope and social media, YouTube, you've been seeing some of the behind the scenes stuff as it's coming together. Really exciting to see things like the Decayed Brigade doing their sliding practice, things like Figment Foundry putting the last touches on this 20-foot tall world of awesome in there, little experience there. We've got the mini haunts, we've got some great panels coming up, tons of things to share. So why don't we go ahead and let the doors get open and check out the floor a little bit.
I haven't even made it past like this aisle. Really? That's just from seeing stuff walking from you.
Hold on, maybe they're doing it with that.
Oh, really?
Make some noise! Action begins.
We are here at Ballroom F, which has been converted into the land of haunts here with some really fun stuff. A very rare experience, obviously, at cons to be able to actually immerse yourself in these sort of themed environments. And one of the things we really love about ScareLA, in addition to the great vendors, obviously great panels we'll talk about, you can come in here and get involved and get a little sneak peek of some of the Halloween season to come here in Southern California. So behind us here, we have Field of Screams. We loved them last year. They've got a particularly cool haunt experience there we checked out. Over in the corner there, we've got Fear Station with their huge facade rising above things. Spooky Hollows, really cool looking setup there. And again, these are all slices of kind of what's to come for the October, September really, haunt season. Over here, big hit last year, the Curse of the Devil's Swamp. And then lastly, we've talked about, we got an interview on our YouTube channel with them. Drunken Devil with their Sinner Soiree. So they're checking in there. Lots of fun things, all great tastes again of what's coming up in the haunt season, but also just really fun things, even for those who maybe, I don't know, out of town that are visiting ScareLA, just to get a little bit of taste of haunt season in California. So let's go take a look around and look closer at some of these things. part of ScareLA that you might miss if you're not, in that haunt community per se. I mean, I know a lot of people that follow along with us, some it's because of Disney, or some it's because of, the cons, or San Diego specifically, and things like that. But being at ScareLA, one thing we really want to point out is the awesome job they do with the class scheduling and education. Education's a big part of the experience they offer here, in addition to, making big maze announcements and, doing cool voice acting panels and all that type of stuff. And so just to kind of look real quick here, we're over at the conference center, and just to get an idea of the types of classes that they have here. I mean, this is just a quick look at Saturday, but I mean, you have everything from, I want to get involved in the industry, go from being a newbie to, getting on the track to putting something together, to like total pro events where, you're talking about making your own prosthetics and things like that. And it's really neat that they have this type of education that really anyone, even somebody maybe like me that's never done anything, never done any sort of haunting on my own, never made a costume, anything like that, there could be a class here for me. But at the same time, some of these big time haunters can come in there and, refine their trade, learn some things as well. As we've been hanging out here the last couple of days, it's been neat to meet some of the people involved in teaching these classes. I mean, they come from all over the country to put together this amazing program. Again, ScareLA is a very unique convention. It's not like anything else that we cover throughout the year, and this is just one example of the type of cool stuff that they have that's really, different. We're gonna head back over to the convention center and talk about a couple other things that really make this show unique. All right, so the programming at ScareLA is second to none. It is packed with things, everything from Hollywood to home haunting and everything in between. It's really packed our schedule. As we're kind of filming these last parts of our video today, we're kind of looking back a little bit on the panels, and we've spent a lot of time. I mean, again, if you followed along with us with our other videos, there's very few cons throughout the year that we spend much time in the panels. This is one we've spent a lot of time in the panels because there's been so much constantly pulling us in, whether it's voice acting, the various haunts, Queen Mary, Knott's Berry Farm, Universal, etc. I mean, it's all been kind of pulling us into these seats. It's really nice this year. They have their Hall D, which is their main stage, seats 750, which is more than double what they had when they were at the old Reef location. And they've been using every seat of it for a lot of these panels, or at least most of the seats in there. So we're going to bring you a couple snippets, just real quick feel for some of the fun things going on in the rooms. But more importantly, head over to our YouTube channel where we have tons of video. By the time that you're watching this, probably 67 videos just from in panel rooms of highlights of some of the funniest and most fun moments from the cool things that we've seen here at ScareLA in the various panel rooms. Let's go take a look.
Wow, you guys showed up. Every year we get up here and it was, please let there be at least 2 people in the room. It was so embarrassing. Thank you so much for coming. This is year 3 for ScareLA. It's a big year for us. We're in a new venue, bigger and badder, and we're just so thrilled to have you. Thank you for all of you who have been with us the past few years and who were first here for the first time. And that's it. I'm going to pass it on to some people who can say something smarter.
I'll try. Have you heard a few people on Facebook complain that it's too early for Halloween stuff? Who's ready for Halloween to start today? Right. Thanks for coming. Here's Johanna.
Hi guys. I just want to say happy Halloween to everybody. It starts today, August 8th. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this journey that we started 3 years ago. Was that 2013? So thank you again. Happy Halloween.
Have you guys come to play? Have you come to Trick or Treat? Are there any Haunted Mansion fans in the house? Well, then we're going to get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ScareLA 2015. We are your gateway drug to Halloween. Have a fantastic weekend, kids.
Conversation about the fact that you went on Haunted Mansion before it actually opened up, and you thought you saw it, right?
Well, I did see it. They had a wonderful thing when I was working there as a ride operator, where they would call out to operations and say, we need some people, volunteer bodies, to go over and test the ride. So if you're able to give us 2 hours, you have to agree you'll be on it for 2 hours. Let's see. Would I like to ride the Haunted Mansion that nobody has seen yet for 2 hours? I'll have to think about that one. So I go over there and I'm in my street clothes, and they said, you didn't read that it was only for people that are on a work shift. You know, you have to, so I go back and I cheat. I put on my outfit and then I come back and I ride it. Now, you wouldn't know to look for the Hatbox Ghost because you're seeing this whole ride for the first time. And at that point in my life, Madame Leota and the crystal ball, that was the end-all be-all. And so, but the Hatbox was there. The other things that were very different after it finally opened a week later was he was gone. And there was no more Toccata and Fugue playing out in the front yard, which I kind of thought that was neat.
From Six Flags Magic Mountains Fright Fest, Mark Wing. From Queen Mary's Dark Harbor, TJ Whitman. From Knott's Scary Farm, Laura Hammond. From Universal Studios Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights, Chris Williams. And Laura Moderator, founder of Theme Park Adventures and program producer for ScareLA, Rick West.
Well, hello. Well, hello. I'm guessing that there are a few haunted attraction fans in the house. Wonderful. Well, welcome to Making Monsters. Last year, we started a Making Monsters series, and we brought the makeup artists responsible for transforming people into the ghouls that roam Southern California's biggest theme park haunted attractions. And so we wanted to continue that this year, and we wanted to dive a little bit deeper. So today, we have 4 of our friends with us from some parks you guys may be familiar with here in Southern California, and we are going to talk about art direction and the whole concept development phase that goes into these attractions months, sometimes years, before anybody sees them, before any of these ideas come to fruition. So we're going to take a look at what these guys do, and then we're going to have a conversation, and then the best part, we're going to open it up to questions from you guys, the fans. How does that sound?
If you've been following us on social media and on Twitter, we have a big announcement to make today. Are you guys ready for an announcement? All right, why don't we roll video?
Halloween, Michael Myers comes home. To Halloween Horror Nights, Universal Studios Hollywood. Are you guys excited?
All right. So obviously, you know, Chris and I, we did Halloween in 2009, The Life and Crimes of Michael Myers. Hang on a second. What was that? We did Halloween in 2009, The Life and Crimes of Michael Myers! And, you know, earlier in the year on Twitter, I asked our fans to vote, you know, what was their, you know, favorite mazes of Halloween Horror Nights over the last 10 years, and that was one of the mazes they picked. So now, all these years later, we're bringing Michael Myers back to Horror Nights. Halloween is one of my favorite films of all time, absolutely.
And it's mine. It's one of the most suspenseful, scariest of all time, too.
So we thought that, you know, since we're in Pasadena today, which has a lot of connections to the film, if you know your history of Halloween, we thought it'd be really fun today to talk a little bit about the history of the film, some of the behind the scenes of the film, and before we get into talking about like what we're going to do with Halloween this year in our maze. So to do that, I'm going to bring out producer-director Malik Akkad. He is the CEO of Compass International Pictures and Travis International Films. Long history with the franchise of Halloween. Welcome Malik to the stage.
The Walt Disney Company has been thrilling and chilling us for decades. Today we welcome some of the sinister voices associated with Disney's most spooktacular attractions. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Corey Burton, the voice of the Haunted Mansion Holiday Musical. Mr. Mark Silverman, the voice of Rod Serling from the Twilight Zone Terror. Peter Renday, the voice of the Ghost Host from Disney's original Haunted Mansion record.
We have time for one more question, right here down in the front.
Hi, I have a question. Is Elvira coming back?
The question was, is Elvira coming back? The answer to that question, ladies and gentlemen, is...
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark, Cassandra Peterson herself, live right here on the stage.
Thank you. Oh my God. Okay, and guess what? I'm here to announce my new show at Not Scary. The name is Asylum. Or as I like to call it, Elvira's Booby Hatch. Yeah, anyway, it's music, dancing, comedy jokes. It is insane. Really crazy. That's why we call it Asylum. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be Elvira's only appearance during Halloween, doing a live show. It's going to be at Knott's from, let's see, September 24th all the way through the 31st. And I'm super excited about it. This year we're up in the ante. It's bigger than ever. And I don't know, anybody out here who has seen the show before? This year it's really insane. So anyway, I hope to see you guys out there, and I guess we're gonna answer.
All right, so we're talking about the uniqueness of ScareLA. Obviously, the classes moving back inside the convention center here. We have the Vault of Darkness behind us. This was something ScareLA came up with this year, and they went to Evil Twin Studio to ask them to produce this. And Evil Twin Studio does their own awesome haunts, and they decided instead of doing a mini haunt that they were going to do something like this, where they're actually curating a bunch of cool pieces in there. And so the way I've described it to a bunch of people that have asked about it in the last couple days is it's kind of like a museum meets haunt. And so as you go in, there's 13 different exhibits inside, but it's dark, and there may or may not be a few scare actors hiding in there, and some fun things to kind of mix it up, so it's not just kind of this dry museum atmosphere, which would be cool nonetheless because they've got some awesome stuff in there, but it adds this element which is perfect for a haunt. You know, to note on that is this giant facade that they put together over the days. I mean, it was amazing seeing it come together on setup day here so quick. It's flush against the walls there. I mean, it just looks like a permanent structure, and one of the things I had said on social media, which is totally true, is this is what we love, or I should say, from speaking for myself, what I love about haunts is these themed environments coming together in a short amount of time. They're there and then they're gone forever, and so this is a really cool Vault of Darkness for 2015. Who knows what they'll do for ScareLA next year, what their participation will be, and obviously their haunting season. We're going to go ahead and go inside, give you a little bit of a taste of what the Vault of Darkness is, but we're not going to have a ton of spoilers there because we'll leave it up to you if you want to experience the whole thing on a separate video on our YouTube channel where we do a lights on and a lights off tour of it. So let's go take a look inside. videos, we always wrap up all of our overview videos with an Under the Con. That's where we go underneath the hood of the convention. Oftentimes it's kind of fitting, so we are literally underneath the con in the parking garage, kind of wrapping things up, looking at some things we picked up in the weekend, and just kind of talking generally about some things we found at the convention. So with all of our talk right now, we'll condense things here, show a couple more visuals to match up with what you saw in the overview video, but we definitely suggest heading over to iTunes and Stitcher to check out Parks and Cons, our podcast, where we have a much more in-depth conversation about all that was ScareLA 2015. That being said, let's look at some things. So I think a big note is we didn't end up buying a whole lot, and a big part of that was just because there was so much entertainment grabbing us. We were constantly pulled in a million different directions, which was a very good thing, a very fun thing. There was always, it seemed, at least 2, if not 3 or 4 competing interests in places we wanted to be, and it was a cram all the way into Sunday. As it is now, we're about 2-3 hours after the closing of the doors on Sunday here at ScareLA, and we're just wrapping up podcasts, last touches of uploading, filming things, just because the entire time the show was going on, practically 24 hours of the day, we were going. I mean, went to bed 2:33 a.m. last night because we were at the Bloody Ballroom, which was an awesome party, and had a great time there, and there was just constantly things going on. That being said, we did hit the floor and found some cool things. First off, just want to note this really cool program. I mean, this one got a little dinged up here, but I mean, just awesome work. And I mean, it's really, I gotta say, it's just about one of the best programs I have ever seen. Lots of cool advertisements for haunts coming up, but it's just a really high quality. It feels kind of like an old school horror magazine here that they've given us. Starting the convention out, we hit a really neat booth. Let's see, it is, remind myself of their name, sweetmidnight.com. So if you are looking for any stuff, sweetmidnight.com, they had a ton of cool Haunted Mansion stuff Carmel picked up, as well as just Disney stuff generally, and some cool Gothic type stuff as well. She picked up some hair ties here, Bambi, obviously not very scary, but fun in Disney, as well as a Haunted Mansion print. They had tons of really cool things to see there. Had bracelets coming. All right, all kinds of cool stuff. This is a really great example of some of the jewelry they had. Haunted Mansion, Foolish Mortal. This was just 15 bucks, and I thought it was a really neat thing that she picked up there. An awesome selection of Haunted Mansion shirts and dresses. She grabbed a Hitchhiking Ghost one. It's dirty. She wore it to the Bloody Ballroom, so we're not going to pull out the dirty laundry, but check them out, sweetmidnight.com. Lots of fun Disney stuff, Haunted Mansion stuff, goth stuff, etc. Also picked up a few shirts. There was a screen printing group there. They're actually tied in over with Coffin Creek haunt we covered last year, and you picked the design. They had this Haunted Mansion one. They also had a green wallpaper design. Thought that was fun. 15 bucks there. Bill Root was there. And he's got a different programs. He did a bunch of cool prints. He had a cool Krampus print as well, and picked up the old ScareLA shirt there. Love the jack-o'-lantern one. We weren't there last year, so we got one for ourselves. And then obviously I'm wearing a ScareLA 2015 shirt here. Great material. Good stuff. 25 bucks. Well worth it. I think it'll wash well and wear well. But yeah, we ended up spending very little relative to what we do spend a lot of times at cons. We didn't buy a bunch of toys, didn't buy a bunch of books or things like that, because we were just so busy jamming in all these programs, haunts, Vault of Darkness, etc. All the things we talked about in this video. So I think there's a very bright future for ScareLA. I mean, a lot of things going on. The amount of value you get, the entertainment dollar goes a long way. I'm not really sure how you can do this con as a one-day show, even if you were just minimally interested in haunt stuff, because there's just so much to do constantly. It really feels like a 2-day show. It feels like it needs to be a 3-day show, so we'll see if that ever happens. But I think there's enough of a route there, enough entertainment, enough value there that I think people would make it out for that extra day, and a lot of fun to kind of be embedded in that big 3-day show. It's a big contender on the scene in terms of just conventions in general, which is what we cover. So we're not a haunt-specific site or anything like that, but I think it has a lot of value for conventions in general, not just in the haunt community. It has a lot of crossover value there and a lot of fun Disney stuff, and I think it's a great show to check out. So hopefully you enjoyed our coverage of it and you followed along with me. Anyways, as I said, go over to iTunes or Stitcher, where we'll have our podcast and have a much more in-depth conversation about everything we did at ScareLA and why we love these so much. So we'll wrap up here, and until next time, we'll see you in line somewhere.